Hi guys, so today we worked in the Your Turn Practice workbook. We started with a review of the vocabulary words. First word was gritty. After a day at the beach, sand was in our shoes and each step felt gritty. Gritty is the rough feeling that you have like when you have sand on your feet. Humid. Humid is when a lot of water vapor is in the air and it feels moist. I was not used to the humid weather in the hot and rainy jungle. Humid is when the weather feels sticky and very hot. Typical. Typical is normal, what we expect. Um, what what is the norm for most people in this area, in an area that you're talking about? What is the norm? What is expected of people? Even though she was not a typical pet, the family still loved their ferret. Okay, so typical here, it's not a normal pet. Most people don't have ferrets as pets. Microscope. In order to see the tiny plant cells, we use the microscope. You remember the microscope is the tool that we use in the lab to magnify things. Magnify. What does magnify mean? To make something larger. His glasses helped to magnify the words so he could read more easily. Next we have cling. Remember, cling means to stick closely to something, like glue. In the tall tree, the monkey had to cling to the branch so it wouldn't fall. So he held on like glue to the branch so he didn't fall down. Next, we have at the school party, students from every grade will get to mingle. Mingle means to mix together. In a social setting, it means to get to know each other. All right, that's our vocabulary. Let's take a look at the next page. We went next to page 236. All right, let's read this story and we'll answer the questions. Scott Aldrich's micro art. Scott Aldrich uses microscopes and light to make art. Aldrich was trained as a chemist. He often used microscopes to look at chemicals. The shapes he saw inspired his art. Aldrich uses light filters. The filters allow certain colors to pass through chemicals. Then he takes pictures of the substances using a camera with a built-in microscope. The pictures often look like familiar objects and animals. Okay, this is a picture of a microscope. It's one of his photos that he's taken, his photography. He shows the way that things look when you look through the microscope. How do you know that this is expository text? It gives facts and information about Scott Aldrich's artwork. Okay, so we know expository text gives facts and information about a topic, in this case, his artwork. What text features does the text include? Here we have a photograph and we have a caption explaining what the photograph is about. What does the photograph show and how does it add to the text? The photograph here shows us a picture of the microscope and it helps me understand what kind of images he produces. Remember, he produces images that he can see through the microscope taken with the camera with a built-in mic, a built-in taken through the with the camera with a built-in microscope. What information does the caption give you? The caption connects Aldrich's photography with a familiar piece of scientific technology. So it talks about the fact that he takes photos and it connects it to the fact that he used the microscope to see many of the images that he takes. All right. Now, finally, the last thing that we did, we went to page 232. Now, on page 431, there are 9 jars You can get your language arts textbook. You can pause and get your language arts textbook to look at it. There are 9 jars that show a drop of water being added to a jar of water and what happens. So the experiment was pictured in 9 different photos showing what happens when the water is added. We read page 430 and we took the information and put it in the correct sequence. We talked about what happens to the drop of water first, and the second thing, the third thing, and the fourth thing. So if you should really pause and read page 430 now, because it will give you information to help you understand these steps. That's where we extracted our information from. We took this information from page 430. So when the water is dropped into the jar, first the drop begins to split up. It starts to break apart. Some of the drop sinks down and some of it swirls. So some goes to the bottom, some of it begins to swirl around in the jar. The drop begins to spread out across the jar. So the drop of water, and in this case it's colored blue with the food coloring so that you can see it, the blue starts to spread out across the jar. Then in the end we see the drop is evenly spread throughout the jar. It has mixed with and dissolved into the water that is in the jar. Okay, these are the steps in the correct sequence. Read page 430, see where we got the information from and how it's listed in the correct order in sequence in the writing, okay? All right, that's it for today. See you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.